What's in the box? Greetings, my friends. So just got a delivery. Now I know what this is. I've been waiting since April for this, and it made it on the mat, oddly enough. We will have to do a special unboxing for this one. Yes, sir, we want. Hello, my friends. Chris Mason here. So, I just got a package, and we're going to do a little unboxing of this. But first, I ordered this back in April, and it is now October, almost Halloween. So, it has taken a while for this to arrive. I've been back and forth with the supplier where I bought this, and it was hit by tariffs. The manufacturer shipping it overseas, back and forth, customs problems, you name it. This thing has just been through the ringer to get here. But the company that I bought it from has been really nice, and their communication was really good, keeping me updated on what's been going on all these months. And I'm just really happy it's here, so let's open it up. All right, let's get a blade. Let's chop this thing open. I have not. I've been really tempted to open this. It's been sitting around for about a day or two, so let's see what we got. So just to preface this, I'm a huge fan of the $6 Million Man.
Steve Austin will be that man. Better, stronger, faster.
I had all the toys back in the day.
$6 Million Man, ready to operate and command. Colonel Steve Austin is the $6 Million Man, complete with the technology to replace his bionic modules. Check him out with the bionic transport and repair station. Control his amazing lifting strength. See through his wide-angle bionic eye. The man, his bionic transport that becomes a repair station, and a working backpack radio.
And I've been looking for months for a vintage $6 Million Man Steve Austin doll, and I was not happy with what I was finding on eBay. They were either too expensive or just broken and damaged, and I wasn't a huge fan of the red jumpsuit that seems to be the normal depiction of Steve Austin. Not that Steve Austin, but Lee Majors as a $6 Million Man. I wasn't a huge fan of that orange jumpsuit. It only appeared really in the opening title sequence of the TV show. He never wore it throughout the series, but I loved the tan suit that he wore and that fancy belt buckle. So while I was searching on eBay for vintage $6 Million Man, I ran across this. And I knew my search was over. So here we are. This is what I got. So all right, this is Better, Stronger, Faster, the Cyborg. That's based on the 1972 book called The Cyborg, which is the series, the TV series was based on. All right, let's open this up. Nice little box. Nice little packaging. Action figure upgrade set. So, this should be interesting. All right. It says Grunga Toys, custom toys. So this came out of Spain, I believe, is where this originated from. All right, so it is the tan suit for your $6 Million Man doll. Now, I don't have original figure. I don't think this would have fit that figure. This fits a different sort of a G.I. Joe size figure, but it comes with a great head sculpt of Lee Majors. And let's go ahead and let's open this up too. Wow, that looks really nice. Got a nice tan. Also, that, you know, those original figures from the 70s had that the bionic eye that you would look through. This doesn't. It just has a raised eyebrow, which I thought was super neat. All right, so there's that. Let's put the head to the one side. And we've got some boots. These are pretty kind of standard looking boots. I know Lee Majors wore like stuntman shoes that weren't like regular sneakers. These are pretty cool. And oddly enough, it's a left and a right. You know, a lot of these like G.I. Joe boots, they're ambidextrous. There's just straight shoe. There's no left and there's no right. But this is a left and a right shoe. That's pretty neat. All right. And then we have the clothes. There's the belt. That's an iconic thing. That was one of the selling points for this for me. And while I was willing, you know, to wait so long to get it in the mail. All right, let's go ahead. There's nothing else in this box. All right. So we can move all this off. So, all right, here's the belt. Looks like a little piece of faux leather. And it's got, you know, that iconic belt buckle that Steve wore. And there's the shirt and the pants. And the pants even have belt loops on them to run the belt through. And there's a snap on the fly and the iconic bell-bottom pants. All right, so here we go. Let's lay these guys out. So there's the head and the boots and the belt. All right. Let's see if we can unsnap this. So it looks fairly well made. Got a tag in there. Grunga Toys. Nice fabric. All right. So I don't have a donor body, but I do have. I've had this in my storage box for years. I had plans for this for another figure. I don't know if this body will work. We're going to need some modifications to make this head stick. I think I might I might have to get another body. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work. That neck is pretty big. I may have to chop that off and make a neck post. But the head's not going to fit on there, and it looks a little small compared to this body. It's super muscular, and the hands are huge, and I doubt very much if they will fit through that, and I don't think that. Let's see. Let's just try and see if the pants will go on. If I can get the pants on, then maybe I'll do some surgery on his hands. Maybe I'll remove his hands. But I don't know. I don't think that this body's going to work. I may have to go find me another body. All right. We're just going to try the pants on and see. Yeah, this is not going to fit. he's not going to be, well, oh, there's built-in, there's some elastic in the back. Oh, that's clever. All right, so I can get his pants to fit. Oh, that's pretty good. All right, let's see if we can get him in a boot. That looks like the left foot. So I don't have socks. That original $6 Million Man came with socks at his little running shoes. All right, so the feet fit. Go with the right shoe and get that ankle to bend. There we go. I might have to put a little sticky tape in there to keep those boots on. Look at that. Okay, that's cool. All right, so he's got these big hands. I'm pretty sure that his hands will not fit through there. We can try and let's see. All right, let's just see if we could force feed this through. I don't think it's going to work. I don't want to rip the fabric. Yeah. It is not going. All right, let's see if we can't. Let's go ahead and take this off. All right. The other issue is going to be this neck. I'm really going to have to do some modifications there because that's not going to work. So far the pants and the boots fit. Let's see, can I take his all right, well, this body is not going to work. He's a little too bulky, a little too thick. The pants look great, though. I like the pants. I love the bell bottoms. So I'm going to go out in the garage and look through some of my storage boxes and see if I can't find a good donor body for this. Otherwise, I might have to go on Amazon or somewhere and see if I can find a decent donor body for this. All right, it's here. It arrived. So let's open it. All right, let's open this up. So we know that the costume that I bought, I ordered back in April. It got stuck in customs. It was got tariffed back and forth, and I had, this body that wasn't going to work, so I ordered a new body, and now it is here. This is from Cotswold. All right. So this whole project has cost me more money than I wanted to spend on it, but that's life. All right, so there's our body. Here's our invoice. Get rid of the box. So the body that I bought was the body headless Caucasian 4 clear limbs action hands. All right. I'm sure there was a simpler name for it. All right, so this is the body here. It's pretty much a typical G.I. Joe body. Here's the body that I had that I thought would work with that figure, and the neck was too big and everything else was just too big. The hands are huge. They wouldn't fit through the sleeves. So anyway, we'll save that for a project down the line. So anyway, this is sort of, typical G.I. Joe. I like the kind of clear arms and legs. It kind of fit with the whole Steve Austin Bionic Man vibe. Although, you know, we're never gonna see these pieces. For those curious, without his head, it's about 11.5 inches to the top here. And we've got the Steve Austin head, which is a super nice sculpt. I thought about maybe doing a little repaint, but I think I'm going to leave it just like this. And that should fit nice and snug right on top there. I'm not sure I'm a fan of these giant buckle holes here, so maybe we can turn those. All right, we can move those to the side. So hopefully this just fits right on top, just snaps on. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, let's start to dress them. So just to refresh, this is the Cyborg Hunter Steve from Grunga Toys via Cotswold. All right, let's go ahead and let's throw some clothes on him. So we got his belt, we got his boots, and we got his shirt, jacket, and pants with fancy bell bottoms. So let's go with the pants first. Probably easier to go upside down. Let's go ahead and see if we can't do the belt. My fingers are way too fat for this. There's belt loops. Cool thing about his pants is they've got some elastic on the back. And go through. There we go. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's get him into shirt. Let's give him some arm. We'll go one arm and two arms. All right. So we got his sleeves on. Oh, and his arms just pop right out. Get these little snaps. There we go. And the bottom snap. There we go. All right, let's take his collar down. All right, he's looking very Steve Austin-y. There he goes. Look at that. All right, let's get his boots on. So the boots are pretty unique. A lot of G.I. Joe boots, vintage boots, are ambidextrous, so they're left and right for both feet. And this one has actually got a right foot and a left foot. So let's go ahead. And I don't have any socks for him, so we're just going to put his shoes on. And he just fits right in there like that. As I pointed out in the early part of our video, that the boots are styled pretty much to what he wore in the show. He wore these like stuntman shoes. We might put a little piece of double sticky tape in there just to hold those shoes on a little better. All right. That's looking pretty sharp. So here's there's the box art for reference. So let's see if we can't tuck that shirt in. Let's see. I've got a little dowel, a little wooden dowel. Let's see. All right, and let's start in the back where the elastic is, and let's see if we can't just shove all that down inside there. It has been a while since I have dressed a G.I. Joe or action figure. It's been a while. And the clothes here are actually pretty well tailored and designed. Much better than the old, 60s G.I. Joes that I remember, where everything was just kind of you were lucky if any of it fit. All right, so the elastic is nice. Let's go ahead and snap his pants back together. Fix his belt here. remember in the show he kind of pulled his sleeves up, but I won't do that because he's got those clear arms. And there we go. There is our $6 million man. Let's see, how does that compare to the actual suit seen in the show? All right, well, there he is. There is our Steve Austin, the cyborg hunter. I'm really happy with this, and I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pose him, and we'll get some beauty shots. Well, all right, there you have it. There is the Cotswold Grunga Toys Steve Austin figure outfit. The Cyborg Hunter Steve, to be specific. I'm super happy with this. This was, when I was a kid, this was my favorite look for Steve Austin. I'm really happy with this figure. I can highly recommend the outfit. I don't know if they're still available. I'll leave a link in the description. And as always, have fun, enjoy, like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.